24, live another day, and Audrey is over. But we're just getting started recapping the finale of day 9 for Jack Bauer here on Monday, July 14th. I'm Rob Sesterino, and here is a man who I would never let get turned over to the Russians, Josh Wigler. Josh, how are you doing, sir?
Very, very relieved to hear you say that because I definitely would have pegged you for the type of person to just send me off in a helicopter to an ambiguous ending. But I'm glad to know that, Rob, you are actually just my best friend.
Yes, we're bros. I can't believe Belichick would do that. How could he do that? Oh my God, Josh, that ending.
Yeah, man. Listen, I know that's going to divide a lot of people. I really liked this finale. I'm very happy right now. 24 live another day as far as Josh Wigler is concerned. Mission accomplished.
Boy, it was such an ambiguous finale to the show. I wonder, is this the last we ever see Jack Bauer? And do we have to wonder for all eternity, is Jack Bauer going to be okay? They sent him out on such a, ambiguous note.
Well, let me tell you this much, Rob. Jack Bauer is never going to be okay. Whether we see him again or not, Jack Bauer is never going to be okay. And this finale really proves that point. That it goes back to what before he was the president. Goes back to what Heller tells Jack in season 6. Everything you touch ends up dead one way or the other. You're cursed, Jack, and Jack is a walking curse. Nobody walks away unscathed. It's very rare that he manages to touch a person's life and they don't just crumble to ash. Even Chloe almost doesn't make it out of this episode. So the death of Audrey really should drive the point home that Jack Bauer cannot have nice things. It's just not possible. It's never going to be possible. So the ending with him kind of being flown off to damnation fits really well with everything that we know about Jack Bauer. And if we see him again, it's entirely possible. If I were gun to my head right now, does 24 come back in some way, shape, or form? I say yeah. I think that we're going to see 24 again. I don't think that this is it. I think we're probably going to get some other half season in the future. I feel like that there's incentive to do it. I feel like there's good reasons to do it, and I would be on board with it. But if it ends here, and I think it works. So I think no matter which way you slice it, either Jack Bauer was going to die or he was going to have some kind of tragic ending tonight. There's just no happiness for this guy, and there's never been, and it's completely in character with Bauer and completely in line with 24 as a show. 9 seasons later, it is exactly what it is.
But was this too similar for you to the ending of season 5 when Jack goes off with Chang the first time?
No, not at all. 24 has been an exercise in repeating itself for probably 4 seasons now. It's been playing its greatest hits for quite a while. It's something that I said back when we did the rewatch podcast, when I went back and rewatched all of 24, especially season 8. I was talking about how I was pretty down on season 8 when I watched it the first time until I was able to view it a different way, which is kind of look at 24 season 8 as playing the greatest hits, going back and, repeating some of Jack Bauer's old tricks, the things that we like to see. And in a lot of ways, Live Another Day was doing a lot of that stuff with the resurgence of moles, the Hellers being back in the mix, Chang coming back. There's a lot of greatest hits. And even tonight, Audrey dying mirrors Terry Bauer's death. Finding out that someone he loves dies causes Jack to go on a crazy murder rampage on a dock, on a ship, much like he did against the Drazens in season 1. So it mirrors in a way, and 24 has been mirroring itself for quite a while. So no, it doesn't bother me even a little bit that it's very similar to the ending of season 5, especially because it's not the same sucker punch where Bauer gets knocked over the head and wakes up on a ship and he's being dragged off to China. This is Jack's choice. Jack chooses to respond to his actions. He owns up to what he did in the past and knows that this is the way to save a friend, and this is a way to maybe, if there's any possible chance at salvation, this might be the way, but he's probably not even thinking about that. He just thinks this is the right thing to do, and I'm going to turn myself into the Russians. Totally works for me. I'm not worried that it's too similar to season 5 at all.
Why have the show's creators chosen to just torture Jack Bauer at every turn?
I don't know. I'm trying to think of, was there ever, how many times is Jack Bauer genuinely happy? And I think you could probably count him on 2 hands, and that's being generous. I think, when he ate pudding in the pilot of 24, season 1, I think that was probably his happiest moment after playing chess with his daughter, and it's basically been downhill ever since. And I think the writers choosing to torture Jack Bauer, why do they do it? Because we keep watching. I think that's what we like. I think we don't want to see Jack happy. I think that would be anticlimactic.
It's our fault? You're laying this at my feet, Josh?
You specifically, Rob, I think are responsible for Jack Bauer's eternal unhappiness.
How about this, Josh? Let me ask you this question, and this is a tricky question, okay?
Go for it.
Would the world, the Hellers, and Jack Bauer all would have been better off if Jack Bauer would have just stayed wherever he was and not reared his head here on day 9 of 24? Answer that question.
No, I don't think so, because I think Jack being in the mix...
Disagree.
Well, we'll talk it out then. He's the guy who is around to take out Cheng at the end of the day. Cheng is going to resurface, and Jack is going to be the only one who recognizes his voice and knows that this is the guy we have to go after, and this is the guy who's about to start World War III. That was going to happen whether or not Jack came into the mix. So I think Jack being around to stop Cheng is invaluable. No one else is going to be able to do it. Kate Morgan is awesome, but she doesn't know Cheng. So I think having Jack in the mix was absolutely essential to stopping this World War III that was about to start. And I think without Jack, it could have been a much worse day for everybody involved. I think Audrey probably dies no matter what.
What I think ends up happening is if Jack Bauer doesn't show up, Margot Al-Harazi has the override device. She gets all of her drones. Jack Bauer is doing whatever. She calls up President Heller, says, President Heller, I need you to go to the stadium so I could blow you up. He'll say, okay, all right, I'll do it. He goes there. President Heller dies. Margot Al-Harazi flies the drones into the ocean, just like she agreed to the deal with President Heller. The override device is with Margot Al-Harazi. She's good for her word. Cheng never gets the override device, and yes,
you underestimate Cheng. Cheng has a way. Cheng is the Chinese terrorist Jack Bauer. He would find a way. If what he wants is that override device, he's going to get that override device. You underestimate Cheng.
Okay. I don't know. Audrey would have lived, though. Audrey would not have been in the same place, and Audrey would have lived. Jack Bauer would be alive. Maybe at some point later on down the road, Cheng gets the override device. But this day turns out a lot differently, and I think better in the short term if Jack Bauer doesn't show up.
But then we wouldn't have been able to watch it.
We wouldn't have been able to watch it, sure.
That would have sucked.
Don't call me the sadist that wants to see Jack Bauer tortured.
Oh, I'm the sadist. I totally want to see Jack Bauer tortured.
Okay, let's talk about the death of Audrey Rain. Very, very, very sad. You know, it was a heartbreaking thing to watch. Josh, do you agree with the show's decision to kill off Audrey?
I think they could have gone either way. I ultimately support it because it gave us some great moments, like Heller's final speech was just a heartbreaker. Even taking Heller voice aside, it was just brutal. That was that was pretty hard. So you get that, and then the other thing you get is it ultimately leads Jack Bauer to pull a Drazen on all of these terrorists and cut off Cheng's head with a samurai sword. So yeah. I'm okay with Audrey's death if it leads to those things.
Yeah, I mean, the Heller speech at the end was really beautiful. I mean, it was some of the most poetic writing that they ever had on 24. It's not a show known for its dialogue.
No, it's not a show known for its dialogue. It's a show that I feel like it's known for its one-liners. I mean, I'm gonna need a hacksaw. You get like badass one-liners here and there, but you don't get these really powerful monologues too often. Certainly in later day 24, you don't. That used to be kind of a specialty of season 1, season 2. There were some really good moments, and they almost always came from Jack or maybe George Mason every now and then. But this was certainly Heller's finest moment, and I think that this was some of the best dialogue we've ever seen on 24, certainly this season. So the Heller scene at the end of the episode really was just like, oh, man, that sucks.
Yeah.
So it was intense. It definitely was.
What did you think about a second gunman killing Audrey? Was that a bit of a sucker punch? Why not have the first sniper kill Audrey?
Yeah, there was a lot of business to take care of in this episode, and I think I would have been better with the Audrey death if Kate had just failed outright. I think they wanted to give Kate some kind of victory in the end before sort of stripping the victory away from her. I think it would have saved us a little more time, and we would have gotten the same result if Kate basically is pressured into trying to save Audrey because Cheng knows that Jack and Belichick are on the ship, and Kate really has like 2 seconds that she has to go and try and save Audrey. So what are her choices? She either does nothing and Audrey gets killed, or she makes her move and Audrey gets killed or gets saved. And I think it would have been better if Kate just makes the split-second choice to try and save Audrey, but Audrey dies anyway. I think that would have been a better choice, and it would have saved us some time.
All right, let's talk through the episode, because there's so many individual moments that we want to give attention to. By the way, we've got a great crowd with us here live tonight. Thank you guys for joining us and making us part of your 24 finale experience. We've got the chat room going on postshowrecaps.com. We've also got our hashtag, which Scott St. Pierre is monitoring, PS Recaps. And then you can also post comments on our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. Okay, let's just start off the episode. The episode picks up where we left off. Audrey sitting on the bench. Felt very bad for Audrey, her poor friend. Really, Audrey's final hours are quite torturous. That basically she's watching her friend Michelle is dead or is dying, and she wants to help her, and they call her up and say, I told you, don't move from the bench. And she's like, my friend is dying. I need to help my friend. And so what do? The sniper takes out her friend. Oh my God.
Yeah, ruthless. Absolutely ruthless. I think you see it coming, but it's still like it doesn't lessen the effect of just like, oh my God, this is horrible. Yeah, it was tough. It really was. It was a rough final hour for Audrey. It had been a tough day for Audrey, but those final few moments of life for her were not fun. Were really not that good. And again, it's in character with the show, and it's in line with the history of the women in Jack's life. They usually end under tragic circumstances.
All right, so the next scene we get is Kate and Jack Bauer and Mark going through, what do you call him, Batwing beard?
Batman beard.
Batman beard.
Because his goatee looks like the Batman symbol.
Okay, so they go through everything in his house. They're looking for a secret phone. Jack Bauer knows all the good secret phone hiding spots.
He's been at this for a while, Rob.
Yeah.
And Jack knows
so
what he's doing.
They end up finding an email from 3 days ago, and they realize that they need to get to a freighter. And I feel like every season of 24 somehow ends on a freighter.
It happens a lot. I don't know if it's every season of 24, but usually they find their way to the docks.
6 out of 9?
I don't think it's 6 out of 9. I think it's season 1, not season 2, not season 3, not season 4. Season 5 ends on a boat. Season 6 ends out on the water. Season 7 does not. Season 8 does not. Season 9 does. But that's still that's a high percentage.
High percentage.
All things considered.
Well, the Earth is, 70% water.
I guess that's true.
Yeah. So statistically, we're actually underperforming.
Yeah, it's not great.
Yeah. Okay. So Chang.
We need another season so we can balance it out.
Basically, Chang is getting changry.
He's getting really, really changry. He does not like Jack Bauer messing with his plans. He does not. He hates Bauer. Oh God, this guy hates Jack Bauer.
Yes, he says, "Stop tracking me, Dischangage."
I've got nothing. I've got nothing.
He says, "Stop tracking me, or we're gonna kill Audrey."
Right, and then Mark Boudreau is very upset.
Mark Boudreau is like, we're condemning Audrey to death.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be a rough night for Mark Boudreau.
And Mark Boudreau says, "Jack, she loves you."
He's accepted it. How sweet is that?
It's pretty sweet. And then what does Jack say? Shut up. Shut up.
Shut up, Mark.
Yeah, you idiot. Shut up.
You idiot. Shut up, stupid. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's it. That's it for Mark. He's gotta shut his pie hole. Exactly. So Jack decides that they're gonna go after Audrey. Or they need to go after Audrey, but he needs to go after Chang, and they're gonna send Kate to go and save Audrey.
And that ends up being not a great choice.
Should they have done it the other way? Should they have let Jack go after? Well, no. Then Chang would have got away. Jack made the right call.
I think Jack makes the right call. I think he's going to kick himself forever for this one, but this is the crux of Jack Bauer. The job always has to come first, and the job came first tonight, and it comes at the expense of Audrey's life.
Yeah, I really thought Jack and Audrey were going to end up together at the end of the season.
I had at least thought that they were going to get some MO time.
Yeah. It was like a Romeo and Juliet type story that they were really just, completely star-crossed this entire season.
But at least Romeo and Juliet got it on, right?
I guess so.
Like I thought that Jack and Audrey would at least like spend a few minutes in Bone Town, but I guess not.
They basically like rubbed noses. They had like an Eskimo kiss along the way, and that was it.
And now Jack and Mark are Eskimo brothers, and they are in mourning.
Yeah. Well, I think Mark's going to be Eskimo brothers with a lot of dudes pretty soon.
Yeah, maybe with some of Jack's. They're both going to prison.
Yeah. Okay, so Heller is at the CIA, and he really is very much out of the loop as far as what Audrey. He doesn't even know that Audrey is at gunpoint.
Frankly, though, they may have told him, and he may have forgotten.
Is that he forgot?
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh, okay. So
Audrey's picking up my laundry. You'll be right back.
So the Chinese are moving into the 12-mile limit, and at that point, that's when it's gonna, things are going to get crazy once we get to 12 miles.
It's going to escalate. Once they get there, Heller's going to have no choice but to fight back, and that's exactly what we do not want to have happen.
All right, so here's Chloe, and we actually underreported. Apparently, Chloe opened her eyes up at the end of last week's episode. I did not catch that. Of course, though, I watched 24 on a Slingbox on East Coast time, and sometimes I can't make out everything that's happening on the screen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, though. She took the Eric Ritter way out. She took a long nap.
She took a long nap, and then she's sort of like wandering aimlessly on the road, and luckily some friendly hitchhikers stopped to pick her up.
Yeah, that was very lucky. Very fortunate.
That was very lucky, because the history of hitchhiking on 24 is not good.
It's not good. It usually ends in amnesia and secret assassins. So this, all things considered, as far as hitchhiking goes, this was pretty easy.
Yeah, I thought it was a little implausible that Chloe is able to get a hold of Jack Bauer. That God knows how many secret phones Jack Bauer has gone through, but somehow Chloe still remembers the number by heart.
She'll never forget. She can never let go.
Yeah. Okay. And so she calls up Jack Bauer, and she's like, Jack, Chang is involved, and Adrian Cross is dead. And Jack Bauer sort of gives her the, Chloe, I know all this.
Yeah, I literally know all of that.
I know everything you're telling me.
We're literally wasting time right now.
Yeah, you're out of the loop.
This might be the series finale. We got to talk a little faster than that.
Yeah. And so Chloe wants to make this right, and Jack Bauer's like, I don't think this is a good idea. He doesn't.
Yeah,
he's not interested.
Well, I don't understand that because Chloe is always Jack's go-to on these things. So I think not letting Chloe in was a bad instinct. So I'm glad that he realizes that pretty fast.
The Adrian Cross thing did not sit well with him.
No, he did not like the Adrian Cross thing.
Yeah. And so then Jack finally says, okay, I'll pick you up. Jack Bauer, better than Lyft. Better than an Uber.
Yeah, and faster.
Faster, yes. Jack Bauer app on your phone. He'll come pick you up, charge your PayPal, boom, he's gone.
Never late, always punctual, always on time.
Yeah. All right. So President Heller calls up President Wei again, and basically that they're going to... President Heller is saying, forgive me for being blunt, President.
Yeah, Heller straight to business, as always.
Yeah. Well, and President Wei is still not happy about the destruction of the carrier.
No.
That was provocative.
Nor should he be. That was an act of war, and the Chinese believe that Cheng is dead, so they are not buying what Heller is selling.
Okay. President Heller, trying to keep a brave face, says, if you cross our 12-mile limit, we will fight.
We will... What do we do to them again?
Please, leave President Heller alone.
What do we do?
All right, so Chloe, she's working with Jack, and they have a good bonding moment here. You know, Chloe apologizes about everything. And she
apologizes, and she's like, listen, man, you're going to need my help. And whether you want to admit it or not, I'm your best friend, not Belichick.
Yeah, that's what I wrote in my notes. What about Belichick? Chloe says, Jack, whether you know it or not, I'm the only friend you've got.
Belichick's very lucky that he was not in that car at that time. He would have been really broken up to hear this conversation. Especially at the end of the episode, would have been really tense.
How come Belichick always has to take his own car?
I don't know. He's a loner. He doesn't feel worthy of being in Jack's presence all the time.
Yeah, so Chloe is telling Jack she's sorry, and then Jack's saying basically, Chloe, it's not your fault. It's not your fault. It's my fault. It's always my fault.
It's always Jack's fault. He's right.
Yeah.
It usually is, especially according to your theory. It's all Jack's fault.
Well, I just think that if Jack Bauer doesn't show up, I think this day actually turns out better. For all the good Jack Bauer was trying to do, I think that the end result of the day is probably a net result better on the day. Yes, Chang is still out there. Yes, the Russian guys are still out there. But I think that the Margot Alharazi thing sort of takes care of itself and the override device.
I disagree, and I'm a little bit offended that you're not a Bauer believer.
Yeah. It's if anything
A Baulever, if I may.
Well, if anything, I think that maybe let the override device thing take care of itself. President Heller ends up, going down with the ship on this one, and then when Chang reemerges with the override device, maybe that's when Jack should have popped up.
That seems like Jack has to know a lot of things. I don't know.
Yeah.
You're asking a lot.
Well,
asking a lot out of this guy.
Yeah. Okay, so then Kate Morgan, she's moving into position. She calls up Audrey on the phone. I thought this was pretty ballsy of calling Audrey's phone with the sniper's rifle right on her, but it's working out good.
Yeah, and I feel like at this point, she's realized what we've realized, which is that like all of the goons of the day are really bad at their jobs. So this guy who has his sniper rifle on Audrey probably is not going to notice that Audrey is talking on speakerphone, because all of these little minor assassins and spies are just the worst on Live Another Day. They're all terrible at their jobs.
Yeah. Kate Morgan says, look, we need to draw the sniper's fire. Nod if you're up for this.
And she kind of doesn't really nod. She's like, okay, I guess.
Well, I guess I don't really have much of an option here. Since you told me not to talk, I really only have the nodding option. I think I would have been.
No, don't do that.
So they draw the fire, and basically Kate Morgan's gamble is incorrect here. She basically is like, it's my belief that Chang needs Audrey alive, so let's draw her fire. Let's draw his fire. I thought Audrey actually got shot in the leg here, but apparently not.
No, it looked like it. It looked like she'd gotten shot. The best part, though, is like, so yeah, Kate thinks that Audrey is not going to get killed if she moves, and then the sniper calls Chang, and Chang's like, totally kill her if anything looks fishy. Just do it.
Yeah, Chang's like, you're authorized to take her out if anything happens. Okay. And they did. In fairness to, this was not an empty threat.
They followed through.
Okay. So Jack, Chloe, and Belichick get to the dock. They set up Chloe. They find like a little office, and they set Chloe up in there.
Yeah, she needs an office. I think she's earned it.
Yeah.
After all these years, she deserves a little bit of her own space.
All right. So basically, Kate Morgan, they talk to Chloe. They're moving in on this operation.
It's time. They got to do it. They got to get in position.
I thought this was pretty awesome with Chloe on the infrared camera and Jack and Belichick just destroying everybody.
Yeah, and I don't know if we'll get an opportunity to say it other than now. I'm just so happy that, I'm sad to lose Audrey. Bummer to see Jack go to jail. I'm just glad that Belichick's okay.
But this episode did have a lot of great action sequences, and this wasn't always the case this season, but man, this was some classic Bauer, just killing guys left and right.
Listen, man, I think this last run of episodes of Live Another Day were top form 24. I think it was exciting. It was action-packed. You hit on something. I don't know which episode it was, but you said something that really was on the nose, which is the show is at its best when it's racing the clock. And it's not always racing the clock. Sometimes it's dragging its feet. And I feel like every episode, basically since they had Margot Alharazi's daughter, when they had Simone Alharazi in the car, every moment from there on felt like a race against the clock. And This episode was no different. And I think that's created for some really, really, really exciting episodes of 24 where there was just no filler whatsoever and it was just all killer. And tonight, really no different.
No filler, all killer.
All killer, all killer. So it was good. I really enjoyed it, and I think the racing against the clock is the big deal. I think that's why.
Yeah, I think this season of 24 Live Another Day, I think it was bottom heavy, unlike some things. It was a bottom heavy season. I think probably the back six were much stronger than the top six.
Yeah, totally. Bottom six, baby.
Bottom six. Okay, so then we have Jack basically killing guys left and right, and then Chang starts to realize what is going on. Jack, uh, he also gives us we're on a boat at this
We're on
point.
a boat.
We're on a
We're on a
boat.
boat.
That was good. So Chang basically calls his guys and like, come in, come in. Yeah, yeah, no, nobody's there. I think Jack Bauer's here.
Yeah. Jack Bauer is there, and he's there to kick butt and cut off heads with samurai swords.
Okay, so Chang gives the order, kill Audrey. Did you find it plausible that that Kate Morgan is able with her pistol to take out the sniper?
Only because Kate Morgan has been so egregiously awesome throughout this entire season do I find that plausible. I would have bought it from Jack Bauer, and by the end of 24 Live Another Day, I'm buying it from Kate Morgan.
I would like to get a idea of what was the distance on that window. Like the guy in the window has a sniper rifle to take out Audrey. From the opposite side of that, here's Kate Morgan with a pistol. She's able to take out the guy with the sniper rifle.
Yeah, Rob, you're forgetting that this is in the future, where bullets travel faster and farther
Was it
than they do in
bullet?
2014. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, if that's the case, then we'll go with it.
Viva la 2022.
All right. Chang realizes Bauer is there. He tells the guys, "We're leaving now. That's it. Get the boat going."
Yeah, get the heck out of there, because he knows bad news. We just got to hit the road immediately.
Okay. So they're leaving now. Meanwhile, Audrey and Kate, this is when they start to make their move, but a car comes around the corner. Chang had backup guys, and they fire on them. Audrey appears to be okay. You know, she doesn't get knocked over, and then it's sort of like a thing. She just looks down. It's like, oh wait, I've been shot.
You shot me. You shot me right in the arm. Yeah, it's sad. It's very sad.
Yeah, and I thought Audrey was going to be okay for a second because she's standing up. You know, she's I thought, okay, well, she'll be in danger, but then she'll be okay. But she starts going quick. It goes downhill very quick for Audrey.
What I thought was going to happen was they were going to cut away faster than they did. And I thought that there would be some sort of thing like when the time jump happens later in the episode, because at this point we know that it's 10 p.m. to 11 a.m., so there's going to be a time jump somewhere in the episode. I figured that by the end of the episode, Audrey is like in a wheelchair and Jack is with her and with the Hellers and everything's fine, but they just didn't cut away. They just stayed there and stayed there and stayed there until the life was completely gone from Audrey Boudreaux. And the nail in the coffin, Rob, silent clock, done.
Give me the gut punch power rankings on 24. Terry Bauer, Audrey, Renee Walker. 1, 2, 3. Give me the power rankings.
1, 2, 3. I will go probably Terry, Audrey, Renee would be my gut instinct. I think Terry is number one with a bullet by far and away. You don't know.
Gosh, too soon.
Are you kidding me? That's like one of the biggest TV moments of all time. Rob, don't be silly. It's not even close.
It was the with a bullet part that was offensive.
Okay, it's not even close. It's not even close. Terry Bauer, number one by far and away. And then for me, we're a little close. I don't want to do the recency bias thing, but I think Audrey ultimately is the bigger deal.
I think you're right. I think you're right.
I love Renee Walker, though. Renee Walker, if we're talking about who do I prefer as characters, Renee Walker, number one.
Okay. I think you have that right.
Okay.
And I don't know where the bell is. I had to move it before.
Ding.
Ding. So, all right. So Kate ends up calling up Jack Bauer. This is
a dubious decision.
Yes. So let's talk about this. Okay. So Kate calls up Jack Bauer, says, Jack, oh my God, I'm so sorry. We lost Audrey. And Jack says, you said she was safe. She says, Jack, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. She's apologizing profusely. Jack just stops, he's like moves the phone. He's not even, you just hear Kate. On the other hand, Jack takes the pistol out of his holster. Tell us, what is going through Jack Bauer's head? Is he contemplating a suicide?
Yeah, I think like a bullet was probably 30 seconds away from going into his head. We've seen Jack flirt with suicide before. This is not the first time. Jack has shown suicidal tendencies before, and I think that there's probably a moment there where he's just thinking, man, F this. This sucks. This is so stupid and so unfair that I'm just done. I'm done. But he wakes up and snaps back into business mode. So Good on you, Jack.
So now we know what's coming. We are going on a season 8 type rampage.
It's a season 1 type rampage. It's a total callback to the end of season 1 when Nina Myers has to get Jack Bauer to go in on the Drazens so that the Drazens can kill Jack. And so Nina calls Jack, tells Jack that Kim Bauer has been found dead. It's a total lie. And Jack, thinking his daughter has been killed, goes on this crazy killing spree through the docks and ends up killing all of the Drazens single-handedly with nothing more than a van and 2 handguns. This was very similar to that, where he gets bad news, finds out that a loved one is dead, and he's just incentivized to go into overdrive mode. He hits his limit break for all you Final Fantasy fans out there. This is the big one for Jack, and he just goes nuts.
So he goes on a rampage. He's like Scarface. He's just killing guys with pistols. At one point, he takes a meat cleaver and throws a meat cleaver into a man's head.
Underreported, but yes, that is true. He does get a meat cleaver and throw it into a man's head. That is a thing. I don't know if that's in my top 24 best Bauer kills, but it's in the top 50 for sure.
Okay, well, we'll get to one in a moment because now here comes Jack versus Chang. They have a bit of a fist fight here for a little bit. It starts off pretty good. Chang is like throwing some kicks in there. Apparently he knows some karate. And then, yeah, so they are going back and forth. Chang pulls out the old fire extinguisher move.
Punk move.
It's a punk move.
Total punk move.
All right. So Jack Bauer gets the upper hand, and they radio into Heller after President Heller has already given permission to engage.
Engage him.
Chang-gage him.
Chang-gage.
So they're moving into they're reviewing nuclear response scenarios until Heller gets the call from Jack Bauer. Hold that order.
And
hold it.
Thank God for Jack. Just in the nick of time, as always.
So Jack Bauer calls in and they says, Mr. President, we've got Chang.
Yeah, and that's good. So they have to do like the facial recognition software, and the guy who's so much better than Jordan, Gavin, like has that locked up in 5 seconds. Really, the whole Eric Ritter regime at the CIA is so much better than it was earlier in the day.
Well, the guy who was running the CIA was a mole.
He's a total brat.
Yeah.
Big brat.
He was mad. See how much more effective they are with no mole running the operation.
Do you think he intentionally hired Jordan Reed because he knew Jordan Reed sucked?
Did Jordan Reed suck though?
He was not as good as Gavin. Gavin should have been at the head.
Yeah, Gavin should have been. Yes, I think as part of being the mole, I think he had the guy who was really good not being in that good spot.
Yeah, and then just like trying to shame him into quitting his job to get out of there.
Yeah, Gavin would have exposed the whole thing that he was trying to cover up on his first day at work. You know,
Gavin's great.
Yeah,
Gavin for MVP, I would say, of Live Another Day.
He was very, very good. Okay, so basically Jack Bauer has Chang in like a headlock. And, this was very tense because I felt like Jack Bauer wanted to kill him the whole time. And then I thought Jack Bauer was going to kill him before the facial recognition was complete.
No way. Jack Bauer's got a job to do. Job comes first, every time.
Okay. Facial recognition and voice match.
And it's him.
The lock, okay?
And he says his name, which I thought was a little surprising. I thought that he would at least hold out that much.
Yeah, that you would think that Jack Bauer was say your name. What's your name? Joey.
Yeah. Bob.
Yeah. All right. So for some reason, samurai swords line was that Valerian steel?
I believe it was. I believe they call that Longclaw is the name of that sword.
Okay, so they have the sword there. Jack Bauer is going to, he issues the sentence and he carries out the sentence himself. Yeah. And that he pays, Chang is going to pay, is it the King's Justice?
I think so, yeah. He carries it out. He carries out the sentence.
Okay. So,
the man who sentences you to death, he's the one who carries it out. And Jack Bauer delivers. He really does.
Was that a satisfying death for you for Chang?
Yeah, 1,000%. Jack Bauer has never killed anybody with a samurai sword as far as I can recall, and he chopped off his mortal enemy's head with a samurai sword. I'm pretty good with that. That works for me
But
completely.
it seemed like a very quick death. And I feel
was
like
quick.
after what Chang did to Audrey, what he did to Jack Bauer, don't you feel like Chang deserved not as quick of an end?
Jack has never been one to draw these things out. He'll just, usually he'll just shoot you very quickly and it's done. Like he pops 3 or 4 bullets in Nina Myers and it's over. He doesn't torture her to death. He just ends it. He just gets it done. That's what he does to Victor Drazen. It's what he usually does. It's just let's just get it over. Let's pull off the Band-Aid. So as far as these things go, this was pretty good. At least he used a samurai sword. I'm pretty fine with that. That's okay.
All right.
That's a top 24 Jack Bauer kill for sure of all time.
Certainly cool to see, but I feel like I was mad at Chang. I wanted him to really pay for what he did.
I will also say not as good as dropping Margot Al-Harazi out of the window.
Whoa.
No way. That was better. That was the best. I think that was probably the best moment of the season.
Okay. So also very sad because President Heller doesn't know about this. So do we know what is the name of the guy who was the assistant, basically Mark's assistant that has Mark's job?
I don't know. He's from Lutheran Band of Brothers, but I didn't catch his name.
So he comes in and tells President Heller, maybe you need to sit down, sir. We got to tell you something. He's like, what? Tell me. And he just comes and says, it's Audrey. She's dead. She got shot by a sniper. And President Heller thinks it was a mistake.
Thinks it's a mistake, and then he's like, "This whole security detail was there. What do you mean?"
It's gotta be a mistake. And no, it's not a mistake. And again, we see President Heller down goes President Heller. He sort of passes out.
Shouldn't have drank. Shouldn't have been drinking.
No, he's not drunk anymore.
He took pills and drank on the job.
Okay, so all right, so Jack Bauer comes out after all this, and he goes to find Chloe. She's not there. The room has been ransacked, and there's a drop of blood on the floor, and the phone rings, and we see Jack answer it. This is Bauer. Who is this? When? Where? Understood. I'll be there. Just set it up. And at this point, we go to commercial, and Twitter is exploding. Who is on the other end of the phone?
Yeah, and I didn't. There was a commercial. There was like a quick part of the preview that was like, somebody's gonna show up in the next 15 minutes, and no one showed up. No one I know. No one recognizable.
The British Prime Minister,
Alistair. Does that count?
He showed up.
I guess that counts.
Okay, right. The Russian guy that we end up seeing, have we seen him before?
Not that I recall. And if so, just as a minor character.
Did you feel like the show did a bad job of making us think? I saw Tony Almeida's name thrown around a bunch on Twitter. Did they do a bad job of making us think it was going to be somebody that we knew showing up, and then it was sort of like, oh, who's this guy?
I don't know. I think it would have been cool to see Tony Almeida show up. I would have loved that. That would have been insane. It would have been cool to see like Mandy the assassin show up or somebody from 24, but they already did that with Chang, and that was such a good surprise that I'm not going to beat them up over this. And I think that handing him over to the Russians really works with the themes of the season and with where we left Jack before Live Another Day started. So I can't complain too much. I don't think it set up expectations any more unfairly than expectations were already up. I think everybody wanted to see the Tony Almeidas of the world this season, and it wasn't going to happen.
Okay, let's go ahead and...
Although, by the way, apparently they say that there is going to be a scene on the Blu-ray that tells you where Tony Almeida is. I don't know if they filmed with Carlos Bernard, but I think that there's a scene on the Blu-ray that has a little Tony Almeida action.
Oh, my God.
Not that I'm trying to sell 24 Blu-rays, but...
Yeah. All right, well, we'll see. Josh, we have some time jumping to do.
Yeah, let's time jump.
Yes. Now, Josh, didn't you say there would be no time jump this season?
I definitely said that, 100%. 1,000%. I definitely did, so shove it in my face, Rob.
No. In all seriousness, yes, this was the time jump that we had been expecting here, but we thought it would be more of an epilogue. We didn't think it would be sort of basically this 12 hours later, picking up this story. So, all right, so now it's the morning. Do you think Jack Bauer went to sleep?
I don't think so. That guy never sleeps.
So what? I mean, what do you think Jack Bauer did on that? Was he just up drinking coffee all night with Belichick, saying like, "What time's that meet with the Russians again?"
Yeah, they were probably, he was probably crying a lot, and Belichick was hugging him and holding him, and they were talking it out and talking about life and talking about their past experiences, and it probably ended with Jack saying, Belichick, you're my second best friend.
Yeah. Jack, that really bothered me back there where you said, I wasn't your friend. I gotta say that really that hurt. That hurt me.
Yeah, I think that they talked that out. I think that they moved through that issue. That would be my guess of how those 12 hours were spent.
Hey, Jack, so looks like you'll be spending the rest of your days in Moscow prison. You want to go out and get wasted tonight?
That sounds great.
You want to go hit up the town like the boys do?
I hear Jack Bauer likes to drink, so it works out.
Yeah. Okay. So we see in the morning now Kate Morgan. Sad ending for Kate Morgan. Turning in the badge, walking away from the job.
It's the way she started the day. It just took her 24 hours longer than she expected.
Okay. Did it make you happy, though, to see Mark Boudreau going off to prison, turning himself over to the CIA? President Heller did not forget about this.
I gotta say, I was less satisfied than I thought I would be to see Mark Boudreau have a sad ending. I thought that Audrey dying is enough. Like, that feels like that's enough of a loss. This poor guy. The last thing he needs is just like to go off to prison and just be like humiliated behind bars for the rest of his life. But yeah, that's a rough ending. It sucks to be Mark Boudreau.
Yeah, I thought Mark Boudreau had a pretty raw deal. I mean, other than sell out Jack Bauer, really nothing else that was bad that happened. I mean, unless I'm missing something, right?
I don't know. I think I don't know. It was sad. I think that it was a rough ending for Mark. I think that was one of the harsher endings for a 24 character who doesn't just get killed off.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that the Russian guy that Mark Boudreau was dealing with did have ties to Chang, and so I guess that did, without the Russian guy, then Chang wouldn't be able to have gotten where he got in this day, and then Audrey. So he did somehow was an accessory to the death of Audrey.
He made worse decisions than Jack Bauer. We can agree on that.
Yeah, and Jack Bauer's motives were pure at all times.
Exactly. And Mark, he justified it to himself, but Mark Boudreau, no Jack Bauer.
Okay. So we have Audrey in the casket, and they're basically with the flag draped over her. The British Prime Minister is talking with President Heller, telling him he's so sorry.
So sorry.
And this is where President Heller does this big monologue, talking about how before we left for London, I don't want to do the whole thing in his voice because it's disrespectful. Before he left for London, that he was looking at a picture of a beautiful woman on his desk, and he couldn't think of her name for 10, 15 seconds, and pops in his head it was Audrey. He won't remember anything that happens today. He won't remember anything that happens. He won't remember that he had a daughter that died in a horrible fashion. So is President Heller's Alzheimer's, is it almost a blessing? Is that his saving grace that he won't remember this happened to him?
I guess it's up to interpretation. I think that's pretty depressing to me. Who's going to take care of President Heller? That's what Audrey was there for, and now Mark is gone too. He's got nobody. He's just gonna die alone without remembering anything. It sucks. Well, I think it's very sad.
I mean, I suspect that the president of the United States, he'll be taken care of. But
he'll be taken care of. But who's going to take care of him emotionally?
Yeah, that we don't know.
That we don't know. It sucks. That was very sad. And you know what? Kudos to William Devane for doing a really killer job all season long. President Heller, true MVP of 24 Live Another Day, was so fun and so great to watch. And this final scene of his was just really, really heartbreaking.
But Josh, in some way, don't you feel like Jack robbed him of his moment to shine? That his warrior's death of that he was there ready to take the rocket from Margot Al-Harazi and end that threat and go out on his terms. And didn't Jack and Chloe take that from him?
Jack Bauer's not going to let a sitting U.S. president die. It's just not going to happen. There's no way.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. But I feel like for President Heller, that
for President Heller, the happier ending is that he dies there in the stadium. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And all right, so outside London now, 10:56 a.m. Here comes the black car. The snipers are all around. Jack and Belichick get out of the car. We are waiting to see who it is, and I'm writing in my notes, who's this guy?
Yeah. It's what's his face? That guy?
Yeah, that guy. Okay. I'm like, is that boy? Tony Almeida looks terrible.
For a second there, and then like they showed like the back of his head, and I was like, oh, is that going to be Tony Almeida? It's just like some old dude. So
yeah.
It's all right.
All right. So we get the trade. It's the Chloe trade for Jack Bauer. How did the Russians know where Chloe was?
The Russians know everything.
They know everything. Okay. So Jack and Chloe, they meet in the middle, and they have that conversation, and Jack tells Chloe, it's time for you to go home. Again, the Fox trailer people care nothing about showing you something from the 59th minute of an episode.
Did they show this in the trailer?
Yes.
I missed the trailers, so I'm very glad I did.
They show Jack telling Chloe it's time for you to go home. And Jack says, you were right about what you said earlier about being my best friend. Look after my family.
That's so great. I just like hearing Jack Bauer say the words best friend. And I feel like Belichick probably pretty sad, and somewhere in a prison cell, Tony Almeida's twitching.
Do you think that Chloe ends up ending the goth look?
Yeah, I think she probably replays the footage and realizes not a good look.
Yeah.
I think that was like an Adrian Cross thing, so she's going to go back to being normal Chloe.
What do you think about Jack when he gets to the Russian guy and says, look, I've taken you at your word, but if you go back on your word, what does he say?
He says something to the effect of like, I've taken you on your word, but if you go back on it and anything happens to my friends or family, your entire world will come apart and you'll never see it coming. So Jack has plans in place. Or it's a threat, or it's big talk, but I would never underestimate Jack Bauer, ever.
Is that Belichick? Belichick's going to come after him?
Yeah, I would be worried about Belichick. That guy's ferocious.
Okay. The Russian guy, again, this is a very tough ending to swallow. The Russian guy says to, no, Mr. Bauer, we just want you. Don't worry about that other stuff. He's like, I would say you're going to enjoy Moscow, but you would know I was lying. You're not going to like it.
Do you think he's going to like Moscow more than China? Or comparable? I guess at least in Moscow, he's been through China already.
Yeah, I think it's colder in Moscow.
That's what I hear.
Yeah, I think so. Okay. So and then we go out on that. I can't believe it.
Silent clock, baby. Yeah, that's it. And I love the ending. I think it's great. If it's the series finale, I think it's a fitting way to close out Bauer's story based on where he ended up in season 8. I think it's a phenomenally better ending than the season 8 ending, which had been the series finale previously. And I think if it's not the ending, then I'm pretty amped up that we might get some more 24 in the future. My money is on more 24. I think that we're going to get some.
Now, Josh, I want to ask your opinion on this, because there's a move, I feel like, with showrunners on TV shows, where if a show is on the bubble, they set up a cliffhanger, and then they feel like they put the network in the position of, hey, cliffhanger, if you ever want to have this story resolved, you got to bring us back. So was this a move on the part of the 24 showrunners, a Bauer-esque move, to put Fox in the position of they have to finish the story because the 24 fans are going to feel like that we need to know what happens to Jack Bauer. Whereas if they put Jack Bauer in a spot where you could close the book and say that's the end of the story, Fox is under less pressure to do more stuff with Jack Bauer.
No, I don't think so at all. In fact, what I think is it's Fox telling the showrunners you can't kill Jack Bauer. I think that's a much likelier story. I think Fox wants the option to always be able to tell a Jack Bauer story if they can. I think it would have been cool to see Jack Bauer go out. I think it would be cool to see it happen one day. I'm not holding my breath. I really don't think anyone has the stones to kill Jack Bauer, nor the Pillar. I really think that Jack Bauer is a character that he's unkillable on the show. In terms of the story, he has come out of every situation alive, and maybe not so well, but alive. And I think that in terms of the character and his place in 24, I just don't see an executive at Fox allowing Jack Bauer to die. And
No.
I think, given that, I think that the showrunners came up with a really exciting and fitting way to end the character. I think that if the showrunners thought that it makes sense to kill Jack Bauer, they would do it. But they would have to be allowed to do it by people above their pay grade, and I don't see those people ever greenlighting the execution of Jack Bauer.
Now, I don't mean that should they have killed Jack Bauer, but could they have gotten him to a place where it could have been a series finale where we've had seasons that end with Jack Bauer not in imminent danger, like, what was it, season 3 where he ends up crying in the car, or the season that he ends up...
Yeah, season 3 is the happiest ending for Jack Bauer, and he's crying like a little baby.
Yeah, I mean, could we have gotten to a point where, Jack Bauer is boarding a plane back to America to go see Kim Bauer?
Yeah, I think they could have, but I don't think it would have been as good, and I don't think it would have been fitting with Jack. I think that the epitome of the character is that there's no time to rest. There's no rest for the wicked, and Jack Bauer is a guy that keeps on going and never gets to put his head on the pillow at night. And I think that this ending aligns with that much better than Jack pulling off everything that he came into London to pull off and get to go home and go hang out with his grandkids. I don't think that fits with Jack. I really don't. I think that it's a nice ending, but I don't think it's Jack's ending. And this fits much better for me. And I don't read it as a cliffhanger. If this is the series finale, I think it's a good series finale. But it leaves the door open for more 24 if people want it, and I think I'm gonna go out and say I think people want it. I certainly want it. I would like to see more Jack Bauer. So I think it works both ways as a series or season finale.
Okay. Do you think that this will be the precursor to a 24 movie?
That's what it says on the blackboard. 9 seasons in a movie. Listen, Rob, you know that they've been talking about doing the movie forever. If they're gonna do it, I guess it's time to do it, and they've left the door open to tell some kind of movie. I think what Live Another Day showed is that 24 can be told in a compelling way in a shorter format. The 12 episodes worked. I think that they could have planned it better, because I do think that I love the first 2 hours of Live Another Day, and then I think it gets a little bit boring for maybe the next 3 or 4, and then it really kicks into overdrive. They figured it out along the way. They kicks into override. I think they figured it out along the way, and they had a little bit of trouble at the start. I think they need to plan it better. So I think 24 works in a shortened format, shorter than the 24 episode order. But I am deeply skeptical of a 2 or 3 hour movie working with 24 still, if not more skeptical now than I was before 24 Live Another Day. So I think if they're going to tell more stories with Jack Bauer, got to stay on TV. Take it to Netflix if you want, but you got to stay on TV.
Amazon
works. That works.
Amazon. Well, they already own the whole 24 library, so that would be a good move for them. If anybody was going to greenlight more 24, it would be Amazon. I just don't know if they have the budget to be able to pay for a full season of 24, because it is an expensive show.
I don't know, but think about what's on in the summer usually. What shows are on in the summer that get everybody talking? And I don't know that 24 is the show that gets everybody talking, but it was true. It lived up to the hype. It was an event series. People were excited about it week to week, and it didn't have crazy blockbuster, gangbuster numbers. But that's why it wasn't a fall premiere. That's why it wasn't a January premiere. It was basically a May premiere that ends in the middle of July and just keeps you occupied for a little while. And I think for that space, I think Fox is going to. It's hard to do much better than what they got out of 24. So I think as long as Kiefer Sutherland and Howard Gordon, as long as those guys want to do it, I don't see how Fox says no. So I feel like 24 comes back if Kiefer and Howard want to do it.
Okay, let's take some questions.
And Round Howard wants to do it.
Round Howard and Imagine Entertainment. All right, so let's go ahead and let's take questions from you guys. Josh, can I ask a quick question based on the commercials after 24?
Yeah.
Is is Let's Be Cops? Is that the movie of a New Girl, or is this a different universe?
I think it's a different universe.
Are we sure about this?
We're not sure about this.
This seems I can never recall a more confusing concept for a movie where two characters from a TV show are in a movie together, seemingly playing the same characters, being advertised on the network that the TV show is on, but I don't see Zooey Deschanel.
She's not around. I don't know. I don't know too much about New Girl, and I don't know too much about this movie, but the buzz that I've heard is positive. I will say that.
Okay. All right. So would the New Girl work in a movie format?
No, I think actually New Girl probably could use like an extra 60 hours per season. It's a complicated story.
All right. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at this is from Kofi F, who says, I was expecting to see Cole and Arlo this season, considering they were key individuals to Bauer's whereabouts. Will we get to see them in the near future? What do you think, Josh? Were you missing Cole and Arlo?
I was not missing Freddie Prinze Jr., I'll tell you that much. And, even though in my Season 8 rewatch I appreciated those characters a little bit more than I did the first go-around, I think those guys they're done. I think they're over. We won't see those guys ever again.
Okay. Next question. Ben Rhodes says, great season, but what do you think has been the worst moment during the season? Okay, we typically do our season-ending awards. Of course, the Throners are coming up on August 5th. Where you can vote for our Game of Thrones Season 4 awards at postshowrecaps.com/Throners. Should we talk about our end-of-the-season superlatives for 24?
Yeah, absolutely. So what was the worst moment during the season? I feel like for you and Zach Brooks, it was being wrong about President Heller.
Was that our worst moment of the season? I felt like that was a little bit of a cheap trick.
And my worst moment was not being here to guide you through that crisis.
Yes. Let's see. Worst moment of the season. I think it has to be during the Naveed era. I think that probably somewhere along the way in the Naveed screw up era, I think that was probably pretty bad.
Yeah, I think so. Naveed was like the best worst moment though. He was pretty good. I think the Jordan Reed assassination was pretty bad. That was really bungled on all counts.
Yeah, laughably bad.
Yeah.
Who was the LVP
of the season?
Yes.
Frickin' Naveed, man.
Naveed. Oh, where's the bell when we need it? No love for Benji Bratt.
Nah, Benji Bratt was great. That was a very satisfying mole patrol. I was very happy with how that played out.
Okay. MVP. Of course, the rules for MVP are outside of season 1, it cannot be Jack Bauer. Do you have a call for the MVP of season 9?
Yeah, I think there's contenders. I think, in my heart of hearts, I would like to call Belichick a serious contender just because I thought he was a really fun breakout character, but he wasn't present enough to be considered
not enough
MVP. I would say he was most underrated would be Belichick.
Sure.
And then I think it's between President Heller and Kate Morgan, and I think you got to give it to Kate Morgan.
Give it to Kate Morgan. Best breakout character of the seasons for Kate Morgan. What award can we give to President Heller?
Drunkest at the party.
He's
the guy whose hair you need to hold back at the end of the night.
Oh man.
No, he was great. Best voice.
Best voice. Okay. All right, let's go to another question. Are you digging the new font here on the comments, Josh?
It looks so good.
Yes.
What
Chris.
font is that? Is that like an Arial Narrow?
I think so. Chris Kuckler wants to know, how did you feel about Mark admitting to Jack that Audrey still loves him, and do you think Jack's shut up was the justifiable response? Good question.
Great scene. Really, really great moment. Totally in line with 24. Not a very sentimental show. Jack Bauer, not a very sentimental character in the heat of the moment. I thought that was great. I loved, and I thought it was a great reflection of Mark. This is why I'm saying I feel bad about the way things ended for Mark, and I did not expect to as of, maybe 2 or 3 episodes. I was waiting for that guy to get his, and he got such a rough deal in the end. He tried to do his part to make up for all of the crappy things that he did, but it does not work out for him. So I like that moment with Mark where he says, but she loves you.
Shut
I thought
up!
that was good, and that's perfectly Jack Bauer. So that was one of my favorite scenes of the night for sure.
Okay. So this is from Geek Furious, who wants to know, how many Kate Morgans does it take it to make one Jack Bauer? Careful, Icarus.
Don't fly too close to the sun, Kate Morgan. Is that like the would you rather fight 100 duck-sized horses or one horse-sized duck question?
Yeah. I think I take one horse-sized duck, I think.
Really? I think usually the answer is 100 duck-sized horses, but I think you might be right.
Yeah.
I think it probably takes 100 Kate Morgans to be one Jack, but that's better than the ratio for like every other character on 24. Like it takes like a billion Charles Logans to be one Jack Bauer, maybe more.
How many of the assassins that went to go kill Jordan Reed would it take to be Jack Bauer?
Infinite.
Infinite.
Like an uncountable number.
Yeah, it'd be like in the Matrix when all the Agent Smiths show up.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Horrifying.
Chris also wants to know, Josh, was the death of Cheng Zi the best Bauer kill of the season? Well, no, you already said that. You thought Margot Al-Harazi was the best of the season.
I will, and I think that how I distinguish it is which scene would I watch over and over again on YouTube? Would I watch Jack Bauer behead Cheng, or would I watch Jack Bauer drop Margot Al-Harazi out of a window on YouTube? And the fact that I've already watched Jack Bauer throw Margot Al-Harazi out of a window on YouTube like 100 times, and I haven't watched this more than the one time that it aired, I don't know. I gotta go
watch
Margot.
it on YouTube?
I gotta go Margot Al-Harazi. It's just, it was so great, and I think I settled on that being the 12th or 13th best Jack Bauer kill of all time, is Jack tossing Margot Al-Harazi out of the window. It's just so unexpected, so over the line, and so crazy, and just such great TV. Cheng being beheaded is really good too. It's a top 24, but it's lower than Margot.
Okay. Anything else from this season make the top 24?
No, those are the only two.
Okay. Let's go to Spyrite, who wants to know, who doesn't love Belichick? Presidential show for 1 second, kick-ass wingman the next, hashtag 10th. So what do you think about this? Who doesn't love Belichick? Is that so? Spyrite is saying we want some more love for Belichick.
I love Belichick. Belichick, I think, was the Tony Almeida of the season. He's the underrated character that helps Jack Bauer in a pinch whenever he needs it, and he just kind of comes out of nowhere and just helps out. I thought that Belichick was amazing, and I was very happy with that character. He was the biggest surprise of the season for me. They didn't do any hype of that character at all. I couldn't even tell you what the name of the actor was. He is just a guy who is kind of in the background, and Jack Bauer sort of needs a buddy to get himself through all of these crazy scenarios throughout the day. I thought that was very smart work on the writer's part to kind of give him just this mysterious, enigmatic wingman who just says yes to everything that Jack Bauer asks. You know, Jack wants it, Jack needs it, Jack gets it, and Belichick's the guy who gets it for him. So Belichick, awesome character. If they do more 24, gotta come back. I think that he has more than proved himself. He's a fantastic character. Big Belichick fan.
Josh, would you be on board with 24 spinoff, Kate Morgan as the main character, Jack Bauer in Moscow, possibly we could be breaking him out, and Belichick as her wingman?
Yeah, 100%. That sounds like awesome. Very, very awesome idea. 100%.
Do you think that we could have the torch passed where Jack Bauer is in, he's in the universe still, he's not dead, he's in the prison, and we have Kate Morgan acting as the, she's investigating whatever, possibly breaking Jack Bauer out could be part of it. What do you think? Does this sound feasible?
It's not out of the realm of possibility. I would watch the crap out of it. I'm just skeptical that anybody would greenlight 24 without Jack Bauer as the main character. That's my only fear.
Fair enough.
But otherwise, I would watch the hell out of that show.
What if Shia LaBeouf was the new Jack Bauer?
I feel like most of the bad guys would get their throats bitten out, more than Jack Bauer normally does.
Okay, Susan Appleby wants to know, my question, why did the Russians want Jack so badly? How did they find Chloe? Well, other than they're the Russians, we don't really know how they found Chloe. But, Josh, set up why the Russians want Jack so bad.
Yeah, we've talked about it a lot on the podcast. Just the really quick version being that Season 8, the season before Live Another Day, ends with Jack basically going on a rampage that ends up killing a bunch of Russian officials who were involved in a terrorist plot, but the Russians didn't see it that way, and Jack Bauer is on the run. He's on the run for 4 years, and the Russians want justice. So they want Jack Bauer in custody because he killed their people. He killed important Russians. So the Russians, much like Jack, if the Russians want it and the Russians need it, the Russians get it.
Yep, and they have a long memory, unlike President Heller. Okay.
Oh.
All right, here we go. Here's a question. This is from Morph Productions, who wants to say, hey, Rob and Josh, now that the dust has settled and the season is done, where does this season rank on your list of 24 seasons? I'd also like to thank you guys for making each week of 24 just that much more fun. Hope there's another season of both 24 and post-show recaps 24 live edition. Okay. Josh, when you and I did a recap of every season of 24, leading up to 24 Live Another Day, you gave us your season rankings. Is it too soon for you to put 24 Live Another Day in the season rankings pantheon?
I think it's too soon. It's a little too soon for me. I would say definitively well above 6. I think for
above
me
6.
The spectrum has always been season 1 is untouchable in terms of its awesomeness, and season 6 is untouchable in terms of its awfulness. And everywhere is in between, but skewing much closer to season 1. Season 6 is abysmal, and everything else is passable at worst. Live Another Day included, and I would say Live Another Day is pretty awesome. I think 7 and 8 are towards the bottom of my power rankings. I think in that order. I think it was 7, 8, 6 at the very end, and I gotta take some steps away from it. But I think 9 could be above those two. I think it's possible, but I need some time. I definitely do.
Okay.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I was as a guy who just went back and rewatched every episode of 24 in anticipation of the return of Jack Bauer 4 years after he'd been off the air. Satisfied customer. Very happy.
Okay. Let's go to Joe V, 1998, who says, do you think Vice President will need Jack Bauer 2 years later and buy Jack from the Russians like Wayne Palmer did in season 6? And who do you think the VP is? All right. So is this possible that the VP is able to... what if we trade 10,000 Russian prisoners for one Jack Bauer? The Russians take that deal.
I think that would suck, and I think no speculation on who the VP is. I don't think we have any info on that, so I'll skip that part. But the vice president busting Jack out like Wayne did in season 6, I think that would be a tremendous mistake when we've already proved that 24 can exist internationally. We just spent an entire season abroad. Why would we go back to Jack Bauer and not have it be in Russia? You know, I feel like you have to have Jack out of his element. I think Jack has been there, done that with the United States. There'd have to be a really good reason to get him there, and I think that was one of the fatal flaws of season 6 was they had done Los Angeles for 5 seasons. Jack is in Chinese prison at the end of season 5, and at the beginning of season 6, they really just yada yada through the best part, and you can't yada yada through the best part. You can't do it, and that's what they did. And instead they could have done, you know, Jack in Asia, Jack had escaped and been in Europe, whatever. They could have done something really extreme and weird, and they chose to do the most mainstream, stupid version of the most mainstream story possible. And I think that's why season 6 sucks so bad. I think they've got a chance now to kind of set up a similar situation where Jack is a prisoner for a different country. He's a prisoner in Russia, and they can do something really cool in Russia or in Europe again. And I think for him to be bought out by the president of any, you know, whoever it is, I feel like that would be a bridge too far in terms of being too similar to old 24. That would be echoing the worst parts of 24, and that's something no one needs.
Okay, let me pitch you on something. I'm gonna pitch you on season 10, 24 : Jack in the USSR. Okay, so Moscow, KGB intelligence finds out that there is an imminent threat that is going to happen in Moscow, that basically separatists have smuggled nuclear weapons into Russia, and KGB is at a loss. They can't figure out what to do. They realize the only man that they can use to stop this attack is their own prisoner, Jack Bauer, and they promise him freedom if he can help stop this imminent threat from the Separatists. Go.
Because Jack was undercover with the Separatists once upon a time, and he can reestablish his cover very quickly.
Yes.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's perfect.
Okay, good. Let's do it. All right, Fox. Let's go ahead and get this going. All right, I'll call.
That's what I'm saying, is that this ending sets up a lot of very fun and crazy ideas for a future 24 season. I think going back to America would be a mistake, but going back to 24 would not. I think the way they leave things off with Jack, lots of really cool scenarios that they could explore.
And Jack Bauer says,
If you want my help, I need my people. Give me Kate Morgan. Get me Chloe. Get me Belichick.
Belichick.
Get my second best friend, Belichick.
Belichick's the guy that Belichick has the contact from the Separatists.
Oh, that's right. Oh my God, that's really good.
It's Belichick's brother.
Or Belichick is in with the Separatists already, and they know that Jack has a connection to Belichick, and when he gets out, Belichick's like, I just infiltrated them because I knew they'd have you come out, and now we can be bros again.
Yeah. Okay.
That's good. I like it. Big fan.
All right, here we go. Let's take a few more questions here tonight. On 24 finale night, Imad Khan wants to say, Chloe's looks significantly improved after she was abducted by the Russians. Why couldn't she have looked like that for the entire season? It made the point wasn't over and done.
I don't know. Meh.
Interesting. Yeah. Do you think, Josh, that it was possible that they finished 24 Live Another Day and then they waited for a while to film this last scene and they could have gone a number of different directions? Do you think that maybe they shot multiple endings?
I bet they shot multiple endings. They almost always do, I feel like. What those endings were, who knows? But I bet that they have one or two on the reel.
By the way, did you go back and read any of the AMA from the showrunner?
No, I didn't realize that he did one.
Yeah, he did one. It wasn't Howard Gordon, and I can't remember the guy.
Manny Cotto.
Manny Cotto, yeah, and I know his name from his work on Star Trek Enterprise over the last couple seasons of that show. And he did an AMA, talked about a lot of different things. You should actually read it. You'd be very interested.
Okay, definitely.
Yeah. So let's take one from CDNM Daddy, who says, why is there a samurai sword on the ship? Well,
so that Jack can use it to cut off Chang's head.
Yeah, did you see Captain Phillips? That these guys are not messing around.
Yeah, you got to have a sword on board.
Irish, where's your sword now?
Hashtag sword on board.
Yeah, I'm the captain now. Okay.
Yeah.
Northern Entertainment says, I saw the commercial for the DVD and they showed a shadow of Tony. Do you think they filmed the other 12 episodes and put them on the DVD? P.S. I suck at spelling. Do you think the other 12 episodes are on the DVD?
Almeida Another Day is a DVD exclusive 12-episode series. Listen, you could not get me a better 30th birthday present next year. That would be the greatest thing known to man. I would love that. I do think that they shot something with Carlos Bernard. I'm pretty sure. I believe that I did read somewhere that something like Tony Almeida is answered. What's going on with Tony Almeida is answered on the Blu-ray. I don't know if they shot stuff. I think maybe they did, or if it's just like a dossier that you can unlock in some sort of feature. But I think if you're looking to find out what's up with Tony Almeida, I do think that they're going to have it on the Blu-ray.
But isn't that the oldest trick in the book where it's like, if you buy, How I Met Your Mother, the alternate ending is on the DVD. You gotta buy it to see what happens.
That's what they did with Lost too. Like if you bought the full Lost set, like the complete series, they had a scene on there at the end that just like explained a few of the extraneous mysteries, and it's fun. It's like a cute little thing, but it's not worth paying $250 or whatever for.
Yeah, and then somebody just puts it on YouTube.
Right, exactly. So you can just wait. Someone's going to put Tony Almeida on YouTube.
That's for people who don't have YouTube?
I guess.
Okay. All right, let's do a couple more questions here. 24 finale night. Kenny Evans says, if 24 comes back for another season or the possible movie, which characters from the 24 regular series or Live Another Day do you think will return? Well, there's not many at this point.
Not many. Bauer for sure. Kate Morgan, I would guess, would come back. Gotta have Chloe. Can't do it without Chloe. Chloe is essential at this point. Probably not Heller. I don't see any real good reason to bring Heller back into the mix.
Yeah.
And I think those are really the only ones you could bank on. You can guarantee Jack, guarantee Chloe. I would be like 90% on Kate Morgan, and Belichick would be nice. And again, I do love my boy Tony Almeida. Would like to see him again.
What about Gavin?
Gavin's great.
Yeah.
Bring
And what about
Gavin.
Eric Ritter?
He's napping.
No, he's up now.
No, he went back to sleep.
Well, it was nighttime.
It was nighttime. He was
These
tired.
12-hour days are good for Eric Ritter.
Listen, no one benefited from the 12-hour 24 like Eric Ritter did.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do Lauren Garcia, who wants to know, thank you so much for all the fun you provided this season. I love hearing you all talk and speculate. I had a blast. And thank you for answering my questions in the past. You all rock. Lauren, well, thank you for asking such good questions.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay, let's do one more question here tonight on 24 Live Another Day finale night. This is from Jordan T. Chung, who wants to know, how good is Jack Bauer that he found the secret cell phone in the first place he looked? Top drawer all day. Josh, where do you hide your secret cell phone?
I shouldn't tell you. It's a secret.
Yeah. I keep mine
Let's
in the
just say it's on
drawer.
my person.
Yes. That's the good one. That's the one where I do all my Snapchats from.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, and you know the secret cell phone. Thank God Jack Bauer didn't open up the camera app on that secret cell phone, because God knows what he would have found in Batbeard's cell phone.
It would have been, yeah, he would have found another Batbeard, and it would have been pretty awkward.
Oh no!
Yeah.
All right, is there anything else from 24 Live Another Day that we didn't cover, Josh?
No, I think we got it. We do have one final observation from Merc NX, who says, I can't decide which is worse, 24 being potentially over or no more Heller impersonations from Rob and Josh. Pour one out. Pour one out, Rob.
Pouring it out.
Wait, don't pour it out. I'm drinking that.
Yeah, poor President Heller.
Bummer.
Maybe we that hopefully this will be, it'll be a 24 bump for William Devane's career.
I would love that. That'd be great. More William Devane and more stuff.
Can he get cast in Game of Thrones season 5?
What was worse for President Heller? His day on 24 Live Another Day, or when Bane took over Gotham City and he was the president during that time?
Oh my God. Probably. I think today was probably worse.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah. All right. So we have a lot going on here on Poster Recaps. Of course, 24 Live Another Day is over, but Josh and I just got started on another adventure last night when we recapped the premiere of FX's The Strain. Josh, lots of buzz today about our coverage of The Strain.
Yeah, I had a great time, and The Strain had a little bit of a 24 thing going on too. Curtis Manning is on The Strain. Terry Bauer is on The Strain. There was the countdown clock that was kind of guiding the episode forward. So it's
Sean Astin?
There was some Sean Astin. That's right, Sean Astin. Mole Patrol. There's Mole Patrol on The Strain. It was good. I really enjoyed that show. I'm looking forward to sticking with it for a little while.
Of course, Josh is also covering The Leftovers with Antonio Mazzaro on Sunday nights as well.
That's right. And if you thought the ending of 24 Live Another Day was a bummer, just watch an episode of The Leftovers. It will sink you to lower depths than you thought possible. It's a pretty bleak show, but Antonio and I are having a lot of fun coming up with theories and analyzing what's going on with that show. And he and I are both still kind of forming our opinions on whether we even like The Leftovers. I'm starting to try and figure that out myself. But it's a fun show to talk about, and we're having a good time. So you guys should join in on that.
Plenty of more TV talk is on the way here on Post-Show Recaps, of course. You can subscribe to our main feed on iTunes at postshowrecaps.com/iTunes or to our YouTube channel at postshowrecaps.com/YouTube. All right, so for 24 Live Another Day, Josh, do you want to take us out?
Yeah, no, I've got nothing else to add. I think I'm pretty spent. I spent a lot of time over these past several weeks, basically since this year started. I've been living and breathing 24 by going back and watching the old seasons, and a very long 200-plus episode journey comes to an end tonight. So thanks for everybody who tuned in. I had a lot of fun talking about 24, and Rob, thanks so much for being around to talk 24 with me, buddy. This was fun. I had a good time.
Josh, I can't think of a more knowledgeable person to talk about 24 or many other topics with than you. So thank you for being such a great expert on all things 24. And thanks to everybody. I mean, so many names in the chat room that have been here with us all season long, and even those of you guys who have been listening all season long as well. Thank you for all your support during 24 Live Another Day. We're going to hope to keep it going with a bunch of other shows coming up on post-show recaps. Hope you enjoyed the other ones as much as you enjoyed this one, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye.